But hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Stacy Matlin. I oversee our innovation programs at a nonprofit called the Partnership for New York City, which is a nonprofit that represents the business community in New York City with a mission to make New York the global hub of innovation, commerce, and upward mobility. And back in 2018, we worked with the MTA to create a model to bring transportation technology to the forefront and make New York a global hub of modernization and public transit innovation. And it came out of a crisis because back in the summer of 2017, if you might all remember, there is the summer of hell, and the governor at the time called a state of emergency and requested the private sector to help step up and modernize the transit system. And so we stepped up, we worked together in partnership, created this unique public-private model, and it's been going strong since then. And a core function of that model is a program called the Transit Tech Lab, which is an annual program that helps test technologies that solve pressing challenges. And it started with the MTA. We work with all the regional agencies. And so today we have an exciting panel where we'll have Greg Suter, Transit Tech Lab Manager, go into detail about the Transit Tech Lab model, how it works, and a couple of case studies. And then we'll go into a deep dive talking about a specific case study with Rob Culhane, who is a champion at Metro North and really drove in an innovative project that showed how to reduce carbon emissions and also cut costs within the MTA. So with that, I will hand it over to Greg to do an overview of Transit Tech Lab, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Stacy. All right. So like Stacy mentioned, the Transit Tech Lab started in 2018. Each year, we work with the regional transit agencies, so MTA, Port Authority, New Jersey Transit, and NYCDOT, to essentially design challenge statements that are designed to capture the key challenges faced by the transit agencies. And so we start this process in the fall, and we interview a series of qualitative interviews throughout agency stakeholder groups to really understand. So we're meeting with all the different teams of these agencies, and it gives us a really kind of boots on the ground perspective from people who are actually facing different issues. That helps us inform when we go to the private market. In the winter, we look for companies who are going to be able to solve those challenges. And so we essentially use those challenge statements as a way of attracting innovative technologies that the agencies aren't either working with or aware of. And it's a really interesting way of kind of getting new ideas and faces into these well-established kind of titans of industry. And so once we set these challenge statements, we have a series of evaluations done by private sector and public sector evaluators to kind of pressure test the various companies and understand which would be best fits for the agencies. We then invite the companies to come to New York and do a pitch presentation and a demonstration of their technologies for potential project managers at the agencies. And this is a really cool way to see kind of these companies interact directly with the people that they'll be working with. It also is really awesome to see all these innovative companies come into one space and get to talk about a lot of transit nerds in the room. So it's very interesting to see that. From there, we go into an 8-week proof of concept period. And so we kind of call this an extended demo, essentially, where the companies will have a limited scope of what they're doing, but it's a way for the agencies to get more comfortable with the technologies. And so this might look like using either dummy data or a flat data file. It usually does not involve any kind of direct integration with agency systems. And so that's a way of making sure that we don't need to go through as an extensive kind of review process, and we're able to get the key information to the stakeholders during that period. And so after that 8-week trial, companies are then, successful companies are invited to do an extended pilot up to a year long with an agency or multiple agencies. And this is a way for the companies to essentially pilot their technologies at scale or at a reasonable scale within the agencies and give project managers a real understanding of the technology's capabilities and potential within the agencies. And so I think one of the special things about this model is that we're working with multiple agencies in New York, and we see a lot of cooperation across the agencies. And so we have examples where kind of two agencies will both pilot a technology. We also see situations where agencies will kind of just observe another agency's work. And so that's a very, resource conscious way for agencies to get this kind of visual into a technology, even if they're not directly piloting it. So we see that happen a lot. And then from there, after the pilot period is over, the goal is to have the agencies have a clear kind of go, no-go decision, understanding if this technology is applicable for their teams. And so a few case studies here that we like to talk about. The first one is Remix, which is a bus network software. The MTA piloted this technology through the Transit Tech Lab and is now using this technology for the borough bus redesign networks. The technology during the pilot was proven to be about like 70% more efficient than the previous paper-based model. So just a really great example of that immediate efficiency impact from this technology. NAC is a technology that started as a pilot with the Port Authority, doing kind of predictive maintenance on elevator and escalator models. And this helped, obviously, to better use resources and make sure that elevators and escalators had a high uptime. Since the company has piloted, they've also expanded to working with HVAC systems within the Port Authority, and they're installed across all of the major facilities in the Port Authority. And then lastly, which Stacy and Rob will go into more detail with, Runwise came through our lab last year, finished up the pilot this year, and they essentially are a sensor technology that is able to help buildings be heated more efficiently and demonstrated clear financial and greenhouse gas emission savings during their pilot. And with that, I'll pass it back off to Stacy.
Great. So now we have a really special dialogue with Rob Culhane, who is a subject matter expert and firsthand is a champion of new ways of thinking within Metro North and was a champion through the Transit Tech Lab and is here to share a little bit more background about himself. So Rob, as a first question, do you mind just introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your work and how you became involved with the Transit Tech Lab?
Sure. My name is Robert Culhane. I'm the Director of Resource Management. Mike. Says it's on. Is it on now?
Yes.
All right. This guy keeps taking my picture. So my name is Robert Culhane. I'm the Director of Operations Resource Management for Metro North Railroad. We became involved with the Runwise project in our Transit Tech Lab. Last year, we tried it for a year. It worked out really well in 2 of the buildings that we had. We also tried it out on Long Island for Long Island Railroad. We had the same president at the time, Catherine Rinaldi. So we had very successful results, and that turned into a MTA-wide program where we have it in 4 buildings right now for each of the Long Island Railroad, Metro North buses and the subways. Buses and the subways were watching our pilot program. They had small participation. They saw the results and they liked the results, so they entered into the contract with us.
Do you want to maybe speak to the slides a little bit and share? So at a high level, because Rob, you were a project manager for Metro North, but also we had Long Island Railroad, New York City Transit, and then also Port Authority install this. And so Rob specifically was championing this for Metro North, and a big reason why it continued to move forward with the pilot phase is, as Greg mentioned, there's an 8-week proof of concept to demonstrate the technology works. And then really with this technology, since it's sensor technology and it requires controls in boiler rooms, since boiler rooms really only operate from October to May, it was critical to have a full year to understand the value and do weather-adjusted tests to understand from 2023 to 2022 the significant reduction in excess fuel consumption. And so, Greg, if you want to go to the next slide and share some of the results. And Rob, would you like to speak to some of the results?
Sure. For Harmon 1 and 2, which are Metro North Railroad, we saw a significant drop off. Harmon 3, we were just reviewing the data and not taking action on the boilers. And Jamaica and Hillside, which are Long Island Railroad, they also saw a significant drop off, 40% or more. So to put it in perspective for a full year, we're rolling it out into our North White Plains facility. That uses $300,000 worth of fuel every year. So if we could take 15 or 20% off that, that would be a great achievement. And one of the things that the Transit Lab allows for us at Metro North Railroad, we're broke, to be honest. Like all railroads, we don't run a profit. We're subsidized 30% or so by the state of Connecticut and the state of New York. Should have put the state of New York first, probably. And as a result, we don't have a lot of money to try innovative programs and to do tests and pilots, especially ones that fail. We have a 5-year rolling budget that is locked in. Any money that we introduce into the system needs to be replaced by something that we're going to cancel. So to ask for a couple $100,000 a year for innovative programs means we would have to take a couple $100,000 out of a budget for something else. So when opportunities like this come along where you could have a free pilot and you could walk away if you don't like it, they take the equipment out, there's no cost, it's very beneficial to us.
Thanks, Rob. So I know we have some agencies from not just New York, but from other East Coast agencies as well. And so a few lessons learned. While the model is specific to New York, we developed it in partnership with the MTA. We have a few scalable lessons learned that other agencies can adapt to. And so the first is that we provide a structured process at no cost to the agency and at no cost to the startup. And the sell is that you get unique access to experts like Rob across these agencies that are typically very difficult to work with if you're an entrepreneur. And if you're looking to sell into government and scale into government, as some of the private sector folks know, it can be very difficult to even get a foot in the door. So we specifically target smaller startups that have not necessarily worked in government and are looking to pilot and scale technologies. And then from the agency's perspective, they get access to really valuable cutting edge technology from all around the world, and they can test the technology at no cost to them and see if it works and not. And there's an iterative approach. So we have, as Greg mentioned, this proof of concept, this short 8-week proof of concept phase to say yes or no, does the technology work? And then a scaled, the second phase is a year-long pilot to fully understand, does it work? Is it viable in the context of our system? Does it add significant value? And those are the questions that we ask, how is this technology reducing costs, saving time, improving customer experience? Because ultimately, nobody wants to do pilots for pilot's sake. We don't want to just do shiny technology because of that it looks nice and shiny. We want to actually provide true value, and that is the value of innovation. And this doesn't exist without partners like Rob, who understand their agency's core needs and understand what they're looking for. And so Rob from day one was saying, I see value in this, but I am skeptical. I want to understand how it works. Rob, do you mind going into a bit more detail about, what are the things that you look for if you're trying new things within a government agency? What are aspects that you look for from tech vendors to see if it's worthwhile and worth your time and investment to try something new?
Sure. To step back, there were hundreds of companies that applied. We reviewed the companies. We saw which ones we were interested. We narrowed it down, at least for Metro North side, to about 10 or so agencies are companies that we really wanted to pursue. We did the data portion of it where we supplied our data to these companies and they came back and said, this is what we could do for you. We selected Runwise, but it could have been any of the companies that were going for us. For us, what we were able to do is prove out to the people that would need to implement that this product was going to be harmless to the environment that we're in, the workforce that we're in, the systems that we had. It didn't interfere with any of our IT network. And we were able to show, obviously, the dollars. And we have a target every year because of the fiscal crisis that we're in, that we have to cut $40 million a year each year over the next 5 years. And this would help us save a couple $100,000 for Metro North. This pilot program was successful, and we were able to say, let's enter into a 3-year contract. We'll do these buildings. This will be the net result, and the savings will clearly outpace what the investment would be. For us, we need to have a product that's going to be able to be scaled into our railroad, able to be absorbed by all the old technologies that we may have in different areas, and maybe something that is going to prove out to be a cost benefit to us. We really don't have the money to do things that are nicer and can improve things that don't show either safety impact, drop in dollars, or real impact to customer satisfaction.
Great, thank you. And I think just the one takeaway I would leave you with as we have 20 seconds left is that this approach to...
We are the only railroad in North America to be ISO 50001. Thank you.
Thank you. And just more broadly, the approach to understanding how technology can solve pressing challenges. Technology should not be seen as a silver bullet. It should not be seen as the holy grail, but at the same time, there's opportunities for new ways of thinking, and it requires a broader culture of change. So the more that you can do within your agency to encourage taking risks, trying new things, and trying this iterative approach, the better agencies will be positioned to solve pressing needs in a more rapid way that can quickly respond to customer desires and needs. So I'll leave you with that. We're happy to chat more about the model, more about some of the lessons learned, some of the case studies in the staff room. All right, thanks everyone.